This is Tushar Mehta arguing before the Supreme Court bench on behalf of the governor. He's justified the floor test order, says violence and coercion seem apparent. There's a letter from 38 MLAs asking for protection. Supreme Court has given 24 to 48 hours notice for floor test in multiple cases. Cannot ignore reports of the electronic media. The governor took the decision immediately to go to the floor of the House. Says power in democracy is to be determined on the floor of the House. The Supreme Court then asks Abhishek Singhvi if he has any rebuttal. Singhvi says we must be thankful that we haven't woken up your lordships at midnight. It's only 8 p.m. They're citing the Arunachal Pradesh case of Speaker Nabam Rebia, where the argument went on to the dead of the night. Rajdeep, remember that? That was a long night. Mercifully, 8 p.m. is not so bad.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, the Nabam Rebia case that you suggested is very clear-cut about the governor's discretion in ordering a floor test. And I think that's the strongest argument that the governor's lawyer as well as the lawyer for the rebels will put up. They have a very strong case. At the end of the day, the numbers are looking heavily stacked against Uddhav Thackeray. The only unusual nature of this case is that the Speaker's decisions are also pending challenge in the Supreme Court. So, who then convenes tomorrow's proceedings?
The Deputy Speaker.
The Deputy Speaker. There is no Speaker in Maharashtra, the Deputy Speaker who's in charge. But his decisions are being challenged by the court in the Supreme Court, and the rebels have also challenged the Deputy Speaker's very authority, because they claim that he is someone who is biased against them. So they've challenged his authority, they've sent an email questioning his decisions. So who conducts tomorrow's proceeding? And importantly, who is the Chief Whip? Remember, the Chief Whip of the Shiv Sena, Mr. Prabhu, and the Chief Whip of the Shinde camp are two different individuals at the moment. So who issues the whip tomorrow? There are these legal tangles that need to be resolved. Supreme Court will have to pronounce on A, who conducts the proceeding, does the Deputy Speaker do so or not, because he is from the NCP, and B, whose whip will really matter when that floor test, if and when it takes place tomorrow.
Our Maharashtra Bureau Chief Sahil Joshi now joins us. He has a hotline to many of the key players in this political drama. This Maha coverage has been going on for more than a week now. Sahil, are we now heading towards the climax, or could there be a twist in the tail? Uddhav Thackeray has been claiming, at least till yesterday, that there were MLAs in Guwahati who were in touch with the old Shiv Sena. Is that still the case, or did you pick up the body language of a man who was resigned to his fate, resigned to failure, resigned to defeat?
Well, Rahul, I can tell you for sure, because I have spoken to at least 8 to 10 ministers in the cabinet today. I also spoke to some of the people who are close to Uddhav Thackeray, and more importantly, his speech in the cabinet, he himself actually came to Mantralaya, because, you know, in Maharashtra in last 3 years, that has also become a big thing, that the Chief Minister is coming to Mantralaya, because he used to work from his official residence, Varsha. The allegations which even the BJP and the rebels have made in unison. But most importantly, his speech today to the cabinet colleagues was almost like a Thanksgiving speech. He thanked all his colleagues for supporting him, and most importantly mentioned that the situation today have arrived because his own people have left him and backstabbed him. So he has realized that it's his own mistake, his own party's mistake. You know, in last 3 years, we have been taking suspicion over NCP's role, some of the role over the Congress. But none of us ever thought that somebody from Shiv Sena will actually defect. We had even posed this question to Devendra Fadnavis, that will you have some Shinde in Maharashtra as well? Because Madhavrao Scindia, who is originally Madhavrao Shinde, his son Jyotiraditya Shinde was BJP's chance in Madhya Pradesh. Similarly, will there be another Shinde? We were pointing at Eknath Shinde only, because there have been talks about Eknath Shinde being unhappy in the government. He completely have refused that time. But nobody thought that even if there is unhappiness within Shiv Sena, the numbers were not, nobody thought about the numbers, that total 39 people will go. So most of these people, the ministers I have spoken to, they have accepted since last 3-4 days that they don't have the numbers, especially since the time 1 or 2 MLAs in a group started flowing to Guwahati in a specially arranged chartered flight from Surat. They realized that the Shiv Sena is unable to keep its flock together. So since then it was pretty clear. Now most importantly, what the point which Rajdeep was mentioning, I have a letter sent by the governor to the Assembly Secretariat with me. In that letter, it is specifically and clearly mentioned that a special session of the Maharashtra Vidhan Sabha shall be summoned on 30th June 2022 at 11 AM, and the next line is important. The only agenda of the trust vote against the Chief Minister and the proceedings of the floor test shall be concluded. That means only one agenda should be discussed. There will be no other agenda. Whether there will be a pro tem speaker or not, that has not been made clear by the governor. So that means the deputy speaker will preside over the whole functioning, and they still have the confidence that this will happen. Now what I can understand is that Uddhav Thackeray will try to choose this path, will use this opportunity to speak on the floor of the house the way Yediyurappa did, the way Atal Bihari Vajpayee did, the way VP Singh did, that they understood that they don't have the numbers, but at least use this opportunity to speak to the cadres, to speak to the MLAs who are angry with him, because this will be the first time he will be facing those MLAs face to face on the same floor. So that is going to be really interesting. Let's wait and see what happens in the Supreme Court. But my sources in Shiv Sena are telling me that he will go to the assembly tomorrow and will make a speech